Hello, folks, and welcome back to High Fever, your Indiana Fever basketball podcast. 110-100, the Dallas Wings take down your Indiana Fever in Indianapolis at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Satu Sabally drops 40 on the Wings, on our Fever, and the Fever have been officially eliminated from playoff contention. The Wings clinch the playoffs. Some game leaders, of course. Satu Sabally goes crazy. 7 threes. She puts up 40. Aaliyah Boston with 27. Satu Sabally has 7 rebounds. Leah Boston with 11. Erica Wheeler puts up 8 assists, and Veronica Burton. Erica Wheeler's got 10. Veronica Burton with 8 assists. This was kind of an interesting game. There was a lot of energy in the beginning. They kind of had Sabally. Well, here's the problem: is that Dallas is like this two-headed snake of Arike Ogunbowale and Satu Sabally, and whenever they were holding Satu Sabally, like in the beginning, to very limited points, they would just like dump off to Arike, who would just hit like a stunner, like step back two, or she would just drive the lane. I said when I was watching this game, I was like, can I get a Arike Ogunbowale on my team? Just because like she is active. She's kind of like a Swiss Army knife for this team. And then by the end, Sabally kind of got comfortable, figured out the defense, and just started going absolutely off. That was a crazy game from her. And look, we only lost by 10. I mean, this team sort of feels a lot more cohesive. I feel like the players trust each other a lot more. The rotation is like actually kind of good. Christy Sides is doing this thing where she's playing Christy Wallace and Grace Berger at the same time, and honestly, like that's kind of like I kind of enjoy it. Like I'm kind of liking this this rotation. It's really good. So Aaliyah Boston had 27, 11, and 5. And you know, I think if we're looking at this from just kind of like a game point, like yeah, this was like a bad loss, but I feel like at the same time, like you know, this is definitely growth. Lexi Hall did not play, so you had Christy Wallace starting in that spot. Nalissa Smith kind of hasn't been the same, which is kind of interesting to see. I don't think it's because of her injury, but I think that the team is now constructed in such a way that, like, the plays aren't really running through Nalissa Smith anymore. So that's going to be interesting to see, like, off-season roster construction, what the front office decides to do around that situation. But a good game, like a good game. Obviously they're eliminated. Look, I think that the fact that the Indiana Fever, this team was in, a very small contention. I think it was like 0.01% to make the playoffs or something like that, 0.1%. But the fact that it was even, a tiny percentage chance that they could potentially make the playoffs this late into the year, I think that's great. I think that's definitely growth. I don't think we'll finish with 11 wins. I don't think we'll lose out. So grabbing a couple wins here at the end when the playoff teams have kind of already, maybe they're resting some starters or something. That'll be good for this team. But yeah, it a good game, a very revealing game. It's going to tell us a lot, I think, about this team's future, what we're trying to do, and so Next game is at the Wings, and a back-to-back, playing a team back-to-back. They play some other very interesting teams. The one okay, let me bring up let me bring up one thing very quickly before I go. Aaliyah Boston is working on that mid-range game, and I think she is close to being able to add that like to her bag. She kind of does this like pop thing where like I saw it a couple times, especially early in this game. She'll drive, and then instead of going, head down to the basket, she can kind of like pull up and hit this like mid-range. It's an interesting shot because the shot doesn't have a lot of arc. It just kind of goes straight. Which is a really cool thing to see because if she can add that to her bag, and now defenses need to worry not only about her, putting her head down, but now pulling up, I think that is going to be a crazy addition and like, look, she's pulling it off, definitely. It's not at 100% clip, it's not a Stewie mid range or whatever, but man, she is putting together a pretty nice bag for her sophomore season. So, next game versus the Wings. I will see you on Sunday.